Hello and welcome to the second video I'll do. So right now, I'm working on building a forge. It isn't quite ready yet. You'll see more on that later. So today I figured I'd go ahead and show you something else that you can do without a lot of, more of the advanced tools. You saw it in the thumbnail. We're going to be taking some of this scrap copper pipe that we found, and we're going to turn it into a pendant. Let's get started. Okay, so the first step, I've already cut out some of the pipe. I'm going to flatten it down, and then we're going to draw the butterfly on it. Now the first couple times I did it freehand, but it's really hard keeping it symmetrical, so I'm just going to use this template. And the reason I only have half of it done is it's easier if you can draw a center line and then use the template. It ensures, that my use of scissors was good enough, so it'll be perfectly symmetrical. So let's get that done. Obviously got it out. I think it'll be good enough. One thing to note with this is we're going to leave this area alone, because we'll need that later on in the project. You'll see why. One thing important to note, this copper has some cracks in it, and that was from where I cut it. So had to be careful of that, but I think it'll be just alright. So we're going to go ahead and cut this out. And don't worry, I planned it really inefficiently, but I wasn't going to get 2 butterflies out of this piece anyways. Maybe one over here, but over here none of this is going to help. So this scrap we can recycle anyways. It's copper, we can melt it, or we will be able to. And I found the best way to do this, especially with a small piece like this, because best tool to use would be a jeweler's saw. Then you could just clamp it down, no problem. But I don't have that. I'm not using a hacksaw. It'll take forever. So I'm going to go ahead and use this jigsaw. And obviously, since it has these, if I just straight up clamp it, the saw is going to have a lot of problems actually getting to it. So I'm going to just take this plate. Then I can have it mounted a little further away and still have the same stability. Alright, cue the time lapse. Okay, when cutting this, you gotta be pretty careful of a couple of different things. You gotta keep the saw perfectly straight up, or otherwise it'll start knocking the piece around, and you notice that the piece, it'll bend easily, and I've actually broken quite a few of these, to the point of beyond repair. Because of that, you also have to be careful because it heats up. And you also have to be careful for your sanity, because that took way too long. But hey, at least now it's resembling a butterfly. I like to look at it from the side, that the mark's not on, so you can look at it for what it is rather than, the marks. But you can see we're not very close to where it wants to be. So we're gonna just take a couple files and go ahead and hone in the shape. So I've finished filing, and I've also completed thinking about my life decisions that led me to this point. And it's not perfect, but you know what? This is art. It doesn't have to be perfect. So we're going to go ahead and proceed. We're going to start by drilling the hole for the pendant, which will, just do it in its head. And you can easily do this with a hand drill. I'm just going to do it with the drill press, for the heck of it. So the next thing we're going to do is where you can really screw it up really bad. We're going to split this block up here with this little chisel to make the antenna. And you can see I should have made this way longer and a bit less thick, but, you know, whatever. Okay, I think this is good enough. Well, the camera refuses to focus. But I have split the antenna. The hole is drilled. The antenna split does not go all the way into the hole. I guess you could do it like that, but copper is so weak you'd be bound to have some problems with the end result. So I'm going to go ahead again, keep it flat, sand it down, and then I will punch down the center with a bigger punch. I don't know that this is necessary, but it helps because I'm going to bend the wings in just a little bit, especially at the tips. Okay, you can see I put in the lines. They're not perfect, but, well, let's say it again. I did even more filing to try and get it more symmetrical, and I think it worked. We're going to move on to the final step here, which you have two options, and you'll see the difference. If you put it in the toaster oven at about 450 degrees, or I guess you could use a regular oven, for 15 or 20 minutes, it'll develop a more, reddish copper color. But what I'm going to go for is to use, just a pretty regular MAP gas torch. And if you heat it up just to the right temperature and then cool it down really quickly, like if you just leave it on this steel, it'll help. It'll get some nuts colors, and you'll see that it's even better while it's heating up, but it can come out good too if you do it right, which I probably can't. Did you see that? So you gotta find the perfect right temperature, and it also has to start cool, because if it doesn't, it'll just end up in this color, and this is also what happens when you overheat it. So I'm gonna go in a few different times and try to get it to the perfect color. That's the end of the video, because I don't have any good ideas for creative outro. Just gonna say thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll subscribe so you can see more